रागादिरोगान् सततानुसक्तान् अशेषकायः प्रसृतान् शेषान् औत्सुक्य मोहारतिजान् जगान यो पूर्ववैद्याय नमोऽस्तु तस्मै यो पूर्ववैद्याय नमोऽस्तु तस्मै यो पूर्ववैद्याय नमोऽस्तु तस्मै. Good afternoon, friends. Today it's a very auspicious day. It is Shiva Jayanti, the birth anniversary of Maharashtra's most beloved king, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He was one of those few kings of his time who were technically so advanced. All his forts and his techniques for war are exemplifying how visionary and how wise the Maratha warrior king was. We are celebrating his birth anniversary today, and Nadi Gurukul has decided to celebrate it with a free lecture for all, which will provide the information about evolution of technology in the field of pulse diagnosis, aka Nadi Pariksha. So, my dear friends, I'm sure you all are eager and ready to know what exactly this technological evolution is. So, let us so evolution of technology in pulse diagnosis is our today's subject. We all are aware that Nadi Pariksha, reading the pulse, is an age-old diagnostic tool. How old is it? We can trace the references of Nadi right to Rigveda. Iyamasya dhammate sah Nadi is what Rigveda says. And the references about pulsating artery can be observed across all medical systems all over the world. Ayurvedic people might feel that this is something harming the reputation of Ayurveda's Nadi Pariksha as a specialty phenomena. But truth is always the truth. We can find references of pulse diagnosis across many medical systems throughout the globe, be it Africa, be it America, be it Europe, be it Asia. It is always been used for diagnosis. One thing is very sure, it has been developed extensively well in Asian countries. Every system developed its own set of algorithm, the own method to measure, understand, evaluate the every variation in the pulse, that is nadi. Nadi pariksha per se, pulse diagnosis, is examination of the pulse, and it is by definition the examination of that pulsatory structure. And this pulsatory structure is called artery, nerves, nadi. Since time immemorial, it is understood that the nourishment to the bodily organs is provided by heart through these various tubular structures. And in that process, they create a kind of pulsation during the process of providing this nutritional and life supporting material. Ayurveda understand this pulsation as dhaman, and it says manat dhamanyaha. The one which pulsate is called dhamni. In modern parlance, anatomical structure of artery is so resembling to the concept of dhamni. Rather, when we talk about hridaya's mahat and trini kotyani nadya, mana dhamanya stravana stotansi sarnat sira, we are really understanding the entire cardiovascular system and its role in supplying the nutrition and the life support material throughout the body. Because of this pulsation, which is present only when the life is there, so it is always been understood to be an explanation of life. Jiva Sakshini. So Nadi Pariksha per se is the examination of that pulsation which is occurring in the tubular structure connected to the heart. Conventionally, it has been examined by three fingers. Of course, it has been examined in many parts of the body, but predominantly across all the systems, it is examined at the radial artery, the wrist. Reason is very simple. The lower one third of the radial artery is the most superficial and the only subcutaneous artery, and moreover, it flows over the flat surface of the radius bone. This peculiar and obvious anatomical phenomena makes it the most ideal site for examination. And by keeping three fingers, these pulsations are measured. There are many methods which are used for examination of the pulse. The commonest one are using three fingers and understanding the variation at three different levels by providing pressure gradients. Before we really go on for exploring the technology, let us first know something about this manual procedure. How many variations are there? You will be surprised to know. Some use three fingers only on one hand. But in keeping the three fingers on one hand, there are multiple variations. Like at one depth, at two different depths, at three depths, at five different depths, at seven different depths. Some use three fingers on both the hands. At one level, at two levels, at three levels. Some use four fingers, like in Unani medicine. Dam, Safra, Balgam, Khoon. Some use five fingers, representing Pancha Mahabhutas or five elements mentioned in Chinese. Even the fingers which are used can be used as a single finger, or it can be divided in multiple means. Some divide it into two parts, some divide it into three parts, some divide it into four parts, some divide it into nine parts. You can imagine the permutation and combination of these many various conventional methods used across globe. There are certain Vaidyas which use the mirror side of the conventional side, right? Instead of radial artery on the lower one third, they use ulnar artery for examination. That probably They tell you about understanding of malas there. Ayurveda conventionally also understands that it's the right side of the male is to be examined and left side of the female is to be examined. These are all conventional methods. We are not going in details for this. I just wanted to let you know how many methods manually have been used. And of course, these are not developed in a day. These manual methods were developed over centuries by recurrent practices of many Vaidyas practicing different systems. Reason I feel once again. Pulse was the window for existence of the life. Pulse was the only window for the cardiac activity happening within the body. And that is why it was given utmost importance in all indigenous systems of medicine across the globe. As it was a primary indicator of continuation of life, every single healing system has tried to explore it. And of course, they tried to do it with possible instrumentation. People were almost aware about the regularity of these pulsations. Like I would like to quote here Galileo, who created the watch. He used his own pulsation to count the oscillation of the pendulum. Of course, it was the scientific basis of a watch. In early 17th century, a machine to count the pulsation in a specific given time was developed. We are still using that machine, but today we call it as stopwatch. It was initially developed as pulse counting machine. There were many tries to make graphical representation of the pulse waveform because it was a very known fact that pulse behaves like a wave, and this pulsation is nothing but the rising of that wave. Let me share with you the evolution in nutshell. It began with manual Nadi Pariksha and then went on to mechanical sphygmograph, sphygmometer. Then, once ECG was developed, the electrical current and its movement within the body was measured, and those were used for understanding the pulse. Thereafter, there were pressure sensors or air column dispensing measurement sensors. Then it was acoustic sensors. Then came photoplethysmographs using either cameras of your smartphones or specialized instrument like pulse oximeter, health bands, watches, wearables. The future could be graphene electron sensors. There would be many new activities for measuring the pulse movement has come into existence. Right from a portable water clock, which was 290 before Christ, to Dr. John's pulsometer of 1707, to sphygmometer created by Dr. Jules Harrison in 1835. In 1847, a smoked drum kymograph was created by Dr. Carl Ludwig. The various pulse graph which we see in clinical medical books are majoritarily from this smoked drum kymograph or smygmograph. Earlier machines are all extinct, but smygmograph, which was developed in 1865 by Dr. Murray, was in use extensively, and it was creating graphical representation of the pulse movement when tied to the wrist. These photographs, number 5, which you are seeing it on the screen, have been taken by me in Hong Kong's Museum of Medical History. Then in 1930s, it was plethysmograph created. But that was the time where ECG became common, and use of pulse to peep into the cardiac activity has been drastically reduced. People thought that measuring the pulsation for understanding cardiac activity is primitive, and slowly the diagnostic value of the pulse got reduced. But thanks to Ayurveda, thanks to traditional Chinese medical people, thanks to Tibetan medicine people, thanks to Mohammedan medicine people. They kept the ball rolling, and the science and art of Nadi Pariksha remained alive in the mind of people. After independence, when new courses of BMS were created, very surprisingly, the subject of Nadi Pariksha got deleted from the syllabus and remained as minuscule representation as one of the Astasthana Pariksha. Though Nadi Pariksha was prevalent in the Ayurveda practices, it slowly got deteriorated in the academics. But there were people who wanted to explore Nadi Pariksha, and there were great Vaidyas across India who would use Nadi with perfection for diagnosis, but slowly their numbers started declining. And that was the time. In early 90s, the AI started developing. People thought that many work which is not normally been done by observations, we can use AI and AI based instrumentation and start creating diagnosis. Dr. Deshbandhu Bajpayee from Kanpur was one of those geniuses who converted the findings of ECG into ETG, electronic tridosha graph, a body scan. Same time, in early 90s, though not directly for Nadi Pariksha, but Dr. Shaji Shahjan was doing his PhD from Gujarat Ayurveda University, IPGT and RA, using computing for Ayurveda purposes. He had created Body Tune in 2000. He completed his PhD in 95. Dr. Deshbandhu Bajpayee created it in 1999. In 2000, Body Tune was marketed. Somehow, both of them were academicians and not so keen on taking their research to the market. It always remained dormant. In 2005, Oleg Sorokin a young scientist from Russia, has developed a technology analyzing the electric current potentials into variations in energy understanding of tridoshas, and with the help of very renowned Nadi teacher Vaidya Vasantlat and Pandit Ram Manohar, developed Veda Pulse. Reading the reports of Veda Pulse are a bit clumsy and complicated, but it provides you very innate understanding about Ayurveda, chakra, aroma, yoga, and whatnot. At the same time, 2004, an young engineer, Dr. Aniruddha Joshi, who was so fascinated of Nadi Pariksha after his father was diagnosed by examination of the pulse by one of the very well known Nadi Vaidya from Pune, Dr. Ashok. He thought he should do PhD on the very subject, and he did it from IIT Mumbai and created the first ever indigenous technology, which is not only mimicking the Nadi Pariksha Vaidya, but was providing an electronic report of that Nadi Pariksha with a very good repeatability. He launched it in 2014, and then because of social media, because of World Ayurveda Congress, because of Ayush certified and selected it as award-winning technology, it slowly got percolated across the Ayurveda system. In 2018, an young engineer, an enthusiast acupuncturist, Dr. Basav developed another Nadi Pariksha machine called Nadi Swara. It was using, like Nadi Tarangini was using pressure sensors, very specialized pressure sensors, and it was using capturing the air column in that specially designed grooves, and displacement of the air column is measured by the pressure sensors. As against to it, Basavraj used acoustic sensors. He used very high sensitive microphones to measure the sound waves created during the flow within the artery. And that gave another dimensions. He initially created it for acupuncture, But then he realized there is not much of difference between the two sciences, the understanding of the two sciences with the similar energy flow. And then he later developed an algorithm for Ayurveda too. In 2019, a trio from Bengaluru came forward, intrigued by the Nadi Pariksha done at Sri Sri Ravi Shankar's Ayurveda centers, and developed a technology using photoplethysmography through the smartphone cameras, making it Nadi Pariksha very personal and very useful every single person. This was a great breakthrough. This trio was so much successful that in the first episode of Shark Tank India, it became the only Ayurveda company who got funding. It was supported by many angel investors, venture capitalists, new e- era of Ayurvedic medicine company, and Ayurveda became an instant hit with 1.2 million downloads and 20,000 plus users every day. With in this last 6 years crossing 43 million data points. It was the largest data available on Nadi Pariksha across the globe. It paved a pace for multiple things. I got associated with them in after COVID. During COVID, iRhythm was the only authentic source of examination of the dosha status through Nadi for my patients, for me. And I used them very successfully. And then I requested them to create a machine for doctors, not for individual patients. And then in 21, we created Sahaja Nadi Yantra, which was launched in World Ayurveda Congress 2022. We'll be knowing about it after these slides get over. I would even like to give a demo of how it works. So this was in 2022. What next? Up till now, Sana is continuously getting upgraded. We are getting various patents about use of technology. Sana has been explored for understanding diabetes. One of my students is doing PhD there. It has been used to analyze ischemic heart disease and other heart diseases. One of my students is doing his masters at Yale University on the subject. One of my students, two of them rather, are using it to understand the nutritional deficiencies. A group in UK is using Sanai for understanding the variations in the post-menopausal women and trying to provide them help. We are continuously evolving. Sanai is the only Nadi machine supporting Sahaj Nadi Pariksha. Sanai technologically is been supported, powered by Ayurveda. So every single alteration happening in Ayurveda automatically is covered by Sanai. Besides analyzing the Nadi, it provides a complete clinical package for the user of Sanai. What next? Now we are coming out with newer versions of Sanai, and that newer version will also help the doctor to monitor the dosha status of his patient 24 by 7 with the specialized bands, Ayur band, which are technically connected to the sanai of the doctor. So any variation in the dosha status of the patient whom the doctor will give the band will be recorded, registered and informed to the doctor. I'm sure that next 5 years will be of tremendous variation, change. They have been bombarding. We have last year launched Dr. Ravi Polishetty, launched Dr. Police, another instrument based on the Nadi Pariksha. Dr. Ravi Polishetty is a cardiac surgeon by qualification. Last year, one more technology has come out, LifeUs, and work on the Nadi Pariksha is going on across all IITs, all engineering colleges, because it is something which is absolutely non-invasive, cost-effective, fastest, yet the best diagnostic tool. So just keep a watch to get more and know more about the variation happening in the technology. Now I'm going to introduce you the latest of the lot, most used, very accurate, simplest, using the most used technology, the photoplethysmography. It is very accurate, 95.6% accuracy. Very simple, no adjustment, nothing to be done by the doctor. Fastest, give you 30 seconds result. And very, very affordable technology. That is nothing but Sahaj Nadi Yantra or Sanai. Our tagline is very simple, Nadi Pariksha simplified. Technology Nadi Pariksha was a very complicated phenomena prior to this. You have to attach electrodes or you have to keep the fingers very correctly, otherwise it won't select. Any leak in that will not allow, and lot many problems were there. We tried to overcome every single problem and came out with the technology called Sahaj Nadi Pariksha or Sahaj Nadi Yantra. That is Nadi Pariksha simplified, powered by Ayurveda and supporting Sahaj Nadi Pariksha by me. It is only 30-second phenomena, very objective, very repeatable understanding of Nadi. There is a possibility of report personalization. It helps doctor to manage their appointment and retain the customer. They can track, monitor, record every single activity happening in the clinic about patient. That makes it one of the best clinical tool available to Ayurveda doctors doing Nadi Pariksha. We already have multiple patents about Nadi Pariksha. We have a curated 30 question in 3 sets of 10 questions, Prakriti Pariksha. If Vaidya is not well conversant with the Prakriti analysis, if he is, then he can identify Prakriti clinically and record it manually by himself. It understands the status of dosha just in time. You can see it is, you all are aware about pulse oximeter, how simple it is. Just put your finger in. It identifies immediately the pulse oxygen, the pulse count, and perfusion index. Besides that, it measures the akruti, that is systolic blood pressure, matra, tanav is diastolic blood pressure, the pulse pressure. It understands the heart rate variability. It understands the arterial stiffness, the kaঠিন্য of nadi to pulse wave velocity, and our patented technology identifying the morphology of the artery, giving you the understanding of underlying gati of the nadi. It provides you comparative chart of his prakriti and the conditions right now. And besides that, it provides you a curated list based on the dosha status of yogasana, meditation, pranayama, kriya, mudra, and panchakarma. It also allows physician to add or delete something from the list. And those whose patients are not aware about all these processes, there is a QR code in the report. If you scan that, you get access to the well designed and short videos. These videos are created by Yes Vyasa, the best yoga institute of India. It provides you all this information. Pulse transit time is computed. Systolic and diastolic pressure as estimated. Systolic pressure is always considered as volume and diastolic is tension, matra and tanav. Pulse pressure is counted. Kaঠিন্য, I told you about all this. There is Prakritic marker which can be done by physician himself by selecting appropriate number of dosha over 100, and he can put his prakriti as he wants, or otherwise he has a choice to answer 3 sets of 10 questions each. It also provides an opportunity to record the 5 levels of Sahaj Pariksha by just ticking up the information. It is available right now in 3 languages: Hindi, English, and Kannada. And soon we'll be able to provide this across the Indian languages. Doctor can keep the track of the records. He can keep the track of a patient's every visit. He can enter the details of clinical history of the patient, his family history, his routine, his investigations, and that record is digitally kept, accessed from anywhere he is moving. And utmost important, I'm just trying to give you a comparative chart about technology. Sana is very low cost. It is 6,999. Recurring cost. This includes the cloud charges for 1 year, which are almost around 4,300 rupees. Nadi Tarangini or Nadi Swara. Nadi Tarangini costs 58,000 rupees. Nadi Swara 38,000 rupees. Veda Pulse is enormously costly, and the recurring cost for Veda Pulse is $174 per year. As dollar price is rising every year on year, our cost also is increasing. Sana is very, very easy to use. You need training to capture data with Nadi Tarangina or Nadi Swara. In Veda Pulse, you need to have the knowledge to capture ECG. No training is required for Sanai. For other instrument, training is a must. The time for data capture in Sana is 30 seconds. In other two, three, it is a longer time. It is minimum 5 minutes to any time, because capturing data is a task. Sanai allows physician to add up the health record. Recommendations are also customizable by the doctors. Other machines do not offer you customization. There is no possibility with other machine than Sanai to enter the Nadi observations manually. As Ayurhythm communicate with Sanai at back end, patient can use his own personalized app download, which is free of cost, Ayurhythm, and can do it. Sanai also has subscription model. Nadi Tarangini and Veda Pulse are device plus subscription. So, my dear friends, this is about Sahaj Nadi Yantra, Sanai. Thank you for listening to me. And I'm going to show you how Sanai can be used. So, dear friends, this is used through an application, Sanai, which you can download from www.sanai.com. You can add new patient from here or select any patient from the list. You have the patient list. Like this patient visited this many times. All is record there. So this is Sanai. Very simple. No connection to anything. It's just you can put it around the neck band. I'll say test now. Do Nadi Parikshan right now. I'll put it on and I will put my finger here in the machine and say do Nadi Parikshan. It will automatically capture the Nadi and will analyze it. Can you see this? How beautifully it captures Nadi from my Sanai. This is Sanai. It tells me about my pulse oxygen, which is 97, pulse is 94, and perfusion index is 6.6. 30 seconds and things are over. I'll just keep it aside. All data will go to cloud. It will get analyzed and the report will be created and given to me on my smartphone. My dear friends, it's a revelation in Nadi Pariksha. You can carry these reports, carry the machine anywhere you like, what you need. Definitely, you need an internet connection. But these days, being data becomes so easy and accessible, every mobile service provider is providing you with data packs. And this doesn't consume much of the data. Only thing is, because all the data capture, what it has been done is sent to the cloud where it is analyzed. So neither the application nor the reports are consuming space of your storage on your phone. That is very essential because ultimately we are concerned about the consumption of the data. At the same time, we are concerned about the storage. This kind of instrument may use. Because of, if the larger storage is used, lesser data can be analyzed. So it is getting analyzed. Got it? A report. Kapha 48%, Pitta 35%, and Vata 17%. With almost everything that I told you, Vega, Akruti, Tanav, Bala, Kaঠিnya, Gati, heart rate variability, SpO2, BMR, and BMI. I just asking it to complete the report. So the report also will be generated. This is analysis and the report is getting generated. Saving the data, generating the report. And generated report can be shared to printer. It can be shared to the customer directly, like it is loading the report. And now ABC's report is created. With when it was created, name, height, weight, sex, everything reported. What are that meaning? What are the assessments, questions? If I have filled everything, it would have given me all the details. Besides that, it is providing you the graphs of 30 seconds of capture. All the everything is measured. Graphs also are made available. You can see. And after getting these reports, very important thing is there at the bottom, that there is a QR code. If this QR code is captured, the patient will go to our app where all the curated lists of yogasanas, meditation, pranayama, kriya, mudra, panchakarma will be accessible to him. It will also tell the patient about what to eat, what not to eat, what kind of activities to be done, what not to be done. And at the end, the most important, the financial structure and the details of the doctor are shared in the report. This report can be shared to your printer and get the print, or even to WhatsApp and send it to anybody. Sent. So report has gone from the app to the person. You can see how fantastic it looks. Very comprehensive report. And this is, my dear friend, our homage to the great Maratha warrior king, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here, listening to me, providing your most valuable 65 minutes Thank you once again. Namaskar.